The gateway to Gardner. It's not Gardner Road. It's not the vacant houses or the overgrown lots. The gateway to Gardner is the community. It's not the big box stores or the small business, but the small business owners that put blood, sweat, and tears into helping Gardner and that small town feel. The reason most of us love the city of Gardner. Being a business owner in this community has allowed me to make a difference with those in need of transportation. Good credit, bad credit, and everything in between. I have drawn people to Gardner who have never been here and showed those people the gateway to Gardner. Now that my business is up and running, it should not be up to the city for my success or demise, but to the community of Gardner. What we have done is we've had little to start off with. We've taken the little that we started off with and shined it and made it the best thing that we could do. I personally think the city would be in a much better position if they would do the same thing. Take what they have and you work with it, and you make the community come together. There's no need for me to have a Walmart-sized car lot here, but a little guy, just like the little mom-and-pop stores all the way up and down the street. That's who pays the bills. That's who hires the high school kids to come wash the cars. That's who makes this community a community. If I wanted to live in a big city, I would have moved to Kansas City. I would have bought my house in Kansas City. But when me and my wife get up in the morning and we go for a walk, people wave at us. They say good morning to us. That's what I enjoy about Gardner. But I also have helped a lot of people. Those people that don't have money, they're just starting out. And I spend 2 days on the phone with the banks getting them financed on cars so they can get to work, so they can feed their children. This is a community for all of us. Just because I don't have a lot of money doesn't mean I should be left out in the cold. I think the city of Gardner should, at this point, stand up and do what's right. They made a mistake. We all make mistakes. But sometimes you have to take responsibility for the mistakes that you made. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments for the public on this?
Mr. Chairman, I think it would help if you open the public hearing formally.
Okay. We just announced the public. Okay. This time I would like to open this up for a public hearing. Anybody would like to make any comments?
I move that we close the public hearing.
Do I get a second?
I second.
Okay. Any questions from the commission on this?
I have a question for the Joneses. What's your long-term goal for the car lot? Say, like 10 years from now, are you planning on growing it, to a size where you have to leave the lot, or what's your plan?
Eventually, we're going to be limited right now on how many vehicles that we could actually put out there. Of course, if we were able to grow the lot, we would have to buy another piece of property and move on. The problem with giving us a 2-year limit would be that if we didn't get grown in enough time, it would absolutely put a whole bunch of effort in without their opportunity to have a return on what we've done. We're not saying that we don't want the 2 years, but obviously if we're going to put, if I'm going to get up at 6 in the morning and work till 1 in the morning, I want to make sure that I still have an opportunity to make it.
Right, I understand. Thank you.
Thank you.
This is Commissioner Weatherford. Can you hear me?
Yes.
To follow up on that, I was thinking along the same lines. If you had, say, a 5-year special use permit or a 7-year special use permit.
I'm sorry, what's the question? Did we or would we?
Would it be? I think his question would be more helpful to have a longer term permit. Is that correct?
Mr. Chairman, I don't believe that's an option.
No. Okay.
I think we did talk about that at one point. It's one in the meeting notes. It was an original recommendation that came back, and I guess the only option to that is a 2-year. Whereas, yeah.
When we were looking for options, the term 5 years was thrown out there, just as a ballpark kind of recommendation. That was before we knew anything about what the code had as far as options. We directed staff to go back and look for options that would help us resolve this in the best way possible. Because none of the commissioners, as I recall, none of the members of the commission were willing to do a spot zoning and change the zoning from a C2 to a C3 to allow that particular use on that site. In light of all of the other problems with that site, that even if it was zoned C3, the site is small enough that the restrictions are pretty insurmountable. To put a fourth use on there, it's already a convenience store and a gas station and a liquor store. So to put a fourth use of auto sales on that lot would have been very difficult, even if it were rezoned C3. A site plan would have big challenges getting through the commission, and a site plan would have to be submitted for the change. So the term 5 years was thrown out. What came back from staff, they found a part of the zoning code that would allow for a special use permit, and that particular part of it specified 2 years. I believe it does say that there's options for renewal or possibilities for renewal.
That's correct.
What was the number on that one? Because I've been searching for that.
The reference?
Yes.
Well, it's in the special uses chapter. I think it's 185.
While he's looking for that, I would like to point out that there was a motion that was seconded to close the public hearing, but there was not a vote that took place on that yet.
Oh, I'm sorry, okay.
So this is a point of order. Probably
Yeah,
vote.
point of
Point of
order.
order. Can we do that now at this point?
Yes.
Take a vote?
Yes.
Do we have okay, let's take a vote on closing the hearing, the public hearing?
Aye.
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 So in answer to the question, I think you're looking for the section in the special uses chapter
Mhm.
that limits it to 2 years. And if you look at 18.145, I might be in the staff report too, I'm not sure, but...
I couldn't find it in the notes, but
Let me look in this section.
the only thing I could find was what I put up there for the land use permit. That was the only one I could find in the notes.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's where I'm confused, is trying to understand where that's at. Because the one that was listed in the meeting notes,
The land use permit?
well, the one that was listed in the meeting notes from the last meeting was the ordinance that I had up there, which was the 18.175. Something, something, something. I have to go back and look at my notes.
I don't see the special use reference in the staff report, just glancing through it.
Yeah, I couldn't
It was
find
on
it.
your slides.
But it's in chapter 145,
I'm looking at the code right now.
probably, let's see, 020, and then it's going to be back here. Let's see, it's number 26 in 18.145.020.
And is that a special permit for rezone? Is that what that is? For temporary rezone?
It's a special use permit which allows a specific use based on certain conditions for a limited period of time.
I'll read it verbatim.
So paragraph 26 in the special uses chapter states, temporary use of land for commercial or industrial purposes, provided that any building or structure constructed thereon which is not otherwise permitted in the district in which such land is situated shall be by a temporary building permit, and any stored equipment for materials shall be removed upon the date of expiration of the special use permit, which permit shall be valid for not more than 2 years, but may be renewable after public hearing. So this was something that initially when the rezone application was submitted, this was not obvious to me that this was an option. It became clearer to us when we started looking at alternatives. But that we determined that was something that could be used